If you've played Tekken 7, you might have seen or heard of this Jin combo. To the unaware, this Jin combo is not supposed to work, but for some reason, this combo works on 3 of the 29 playable stages in Tekken 7, and has been a thing since the game's release. This bug used to have quite a bit of notoriety online, but as the years went on, there's not been much talk about it. There has been a lot of theories about this bug, with a common theory pointing the finger to floor break stages, but for some reason, this combo also works on Devil's Pit. Why? Naturally, finding the reason why this bug occurs piqued my interest, and the reason why this occurs is quite weird. It's not too complicated when you break it down, but this bug is quite messed up. To understand how this works, I'm gonna have to explain a few things related to how stages work and why it only seems to affect Jin. A single playable stage in Tekken 7 is created from multiple map files that get merged when they're ready to be loaded. All these maps are created in Unreal Engine 4 and are filled with actors, which are objects that can be anything. A mesh, a light source, some lines of code, or any amalgamation of whatever depending on what the actor is meant to do. Most of these actors provide the visual elements you can physically see or hear on any given map, but some of these actors communicate directly with Tekken's gameplay systems. These specialized Unreal Engine actors are named after their respective Tekken objects, but they don't actually have any gameplay code. Instead, they communicate directly with the Tekken object that needs to be made and creates it with the data specified from the Unreal actor. This communication setup is done with practically all of Tekken's gameplay elements that are placeable on a map. These actors are what tell the game system where you should spawn and at what angle, where walls are located, how big they are and whether they're breakable or not, and most importantly, where you should be standing. This Unreal Engine actor, or the Tekken object that the actor is communicating with, is the main offender of why this bug exists. And by using the floor actor, we can replicate how this bug works. The floor actor, which is named BP_floor break, does not just handle floor breaks as the name would suggest. It's a general purpose floor that's used in all of Tekken's stages, with multi-tiered stages having more of these actors that represent the different floors you can potentially be on. The floor actor itself is nothing too special. The only purpose of these floors, as I mentioned before, is to create the actual Tekken object that needs to be created and pass through some values. And the floor actor does exactly that. It creates a Tekken floor object and passes through values on how the floor should function. What is interesting is how it knows how high it should be. The Tekken floor object uses the Unreal actor's world location, which is just a point in 3D space, and uses that location to place where the floor should be. In particular, it only looks at the Z-axis value, and it just works generally as you would expect until it goes over a certain height. For some unknown reason, as soon as this actor is placed exactly at 775 centimeters or anything higher, something just breaks in the object script. I don't know why it does this at this number, and you'll probably never know as well, but this error is the main reason why it affects the 3 stages that it does. All 3 stages have floor heights above this threshold, and it's why it doesn't work on the bottom floor of these stages, because at that point, the characters are way under that problematic height. This also explains why it works on the first part of Devil's Pit, even though it doesn't have a breakable floor. Funnily enough, the first floor of Devil's Pit has the highest floor for a stage in the entire game. Well, used to have the highest floor. This later got tramped by Cave of Enlightenment's top floor, which is only just 5 centimeters higher. You might also be wondering where the highest floors on the balcony break stages place in comparison. All of the balcony break stages have a fixed height of 700 centimeters, which is just 75 centimeters safely under the offending height, and as expected, don't have the combo bug. So we know that this actor is the main root cause of the problem, but why does this only seem to affect Jin? And even more confusingly, why is it just this Jin combo route in particular? Surprisingly, the blame doesn't fall on Jin for this. It's actually the opponent's fault. In particular, with how fast they fall during this combo route. The opponent needs to be falling at a certain speed for this bug to trigger, with the most consistent way of achieving this is by the opponent being in this animation. When you add this falling speed to the problematic height we discovered earlier, the opponent impacts the floor 1 frame slower than they normally would. This 1 single frame difference is just enough to make it so this kick hitbox on this combo that comes out at this active frame window connect every single time on these bug stages. If one of these elements was shifted just enough, this bug wouldn't occur. And because this bug is not necessarily a Jin issue, but an issue with the opponent, this bug can show up in other combo routes from other characters. It was found years later that Brian also had a combo route that had the exact same issues. Luckily, these conditions don't occur with the other characters in the game. That's not to say other characters can't have combo routes that work on these bug stages, but if they haven't been found now, they're probably not going to be found anytime soon. And with that said, one of Tekken's most mysterious bugs is now no longer a mystery on how it works.